Music producers flock to free plugins like old people flock to the diner at 8 a.m. to beat the crowds. But here's a hard truth about free plugins. Most of them suck. They're either poorly designed, bad sounding, or way too niche. Most of the time, the hassle of downloading them isn't worth the audio they spit out. But that's only most of the time. In fact, instead of being steaming piles of garbage, some free plugins have become an essential part of my workflow. Over my 10-year production career, I've scoured forums, endured an ungodly amount of badly edited YouTube videos, and I've tested hundreds of free plugins to find the diamonds in the rough. And today, I'll share with you the ones that are actually worth your time. In this video, I'm going to show you the 15 best free plugins that are so good, they probably shouldn't be free. If that sounds exciting to you, we make videos like this every week. Hit subscribe so you don't miss out. And make sure to stick around until the end of this video because I'm saving my 3 absolute favorites for last. The first free plugin on this list is called Supermassive by Valhalla DSP. Valhalla makes iconic reverbs that sound otherworldly, and this free release is no exception. If you're looking for a grandiose reverb, then Supermassive is your best friend. It makes it super easy to turn your dry, boring audio into something from another dimension. The controls are easy to manipulate, and it comes with decent presets to get you started. You can find the link to this plugin and all of the plugins in this video in the description below. Next up, we have a plugin called Delay, or Delay by Sixth Sample. Delay is a lightweight plugin swinging well above its weight class. At first glance, it's a simple delay plugin like any other, but if you look under the hood, Delay has some powerful tricks up its sleeve. In addition to synchronized delay times and ping-pong capabilities, the plugin shines with its easily integrated distortion bank and unique delay types like reverse and chaos. Reverse plays the sounds in reverse, and the chaos setting brings a new life into ambient sounds. I use this delay plugin more than I do the stock Logic one. Up next, we have Chan V by Analog Obsession. If you love the sound and warmth that an analog console can give to your sound, you'll love Chan V. It's a multi-effect plugin made to emulate some of the most iconic analog equipment out there. It includes a mic pre, de-esser, EQ, and much more. And it's all designed to give your sound the subtle analog goodness. Analog Obsession, the company behind Chan V, also carries a bunch of other high-quality analog modeled plugins that you can download for free from their Patreon. I highly recommend checking them out. I've shown you some great effects plugins, but now let's change course for a moment to discover some free instrument plugins to add to your arsenal. First up, we have Native Instruments Complete Start. I seriously can't believe that this is free. This is a multi-plugin pack from Native Instruments, and the sounds in it are top-notch. It comes with not 1, not 2, but 12 plugins to help you make music, including 6 instrument plugins and 6 effect plugins. The effect plugins are okay, but this pack really shines with sounds from the instruments it provides. Just listen to some of these sounds. And they're free. This almost made the top 3 plugins for me, but it's not quite as useful as my favorite 3 plugins. Here's another amazing free instrument plugin. It's called the BBC Symphony Orchestra by Spitfire Audio. Spitfire Audio makes amazing sounding orchestral sounds. Even if you don't compose film scores, it's key to have a solid orchestra for the occasional string section or trumpet riff. And this plugin does exactly that. For the price of $3.99, you can get the sound of a live BBC Symphony Orchestra recorded extremely well. The only thing this BBC orchestra is missing is the BBC's golden boy, David Attenborough, who, even after checking, is not available with this plugin. In addition to this orchestra, Spitfire Audio also has over 20 other free instruments available for download from their website that are decent quality. My favorites are the Autograph Grand and the mandolins, but full disclosure, I mostly turn to other paid sounds if I need something that specific. Instruments are sweet, but let's get back to some more effects plugins. In this case, I have 2 free metering plugins I use all the time. The first is the Ulean Loudness Meter. Loudness meters aren't as exciting as synths or effects, but damn it, they're necessary. And most DAWs metering plugins kinda suck. I'm looking at you, Logic. The Ulean Loudness Meter gives me all of the loudness info I could ever want. It looks great, and it's much more user-friendly than some stock alternatives. For all those reasons, I've ditched stock meters completely for this free hero. Up next, we have another metering plugin that I use on almost every track. It's called Span by Voxengo. Span is a spectral analyzer. It shows the frequency spectrum and what's being played on. It's lightweight, it looks great, and it's super customizable. I use it all the time to reference tracks. I'll compare the frequency forms in Span to make sure that my track is in the same ballpark as my reference. I even bought a separate small monitor so that I could have this plugin running on it at all times. That's a true fact. Okay, enough metering plugins, let's get into something juicier. How about creative effects? This next one on the list is called Flux Mini 2 by Calum or Callum Audio. It's an LFO very similar to the LFO tool, if you're familiar with that, or Nicky Romero's Kickstart. It modulates the volume of a song using an editable waveform. I often use it to sidechain. As a free replacement for either of those paid plugins, it works 90% of the same for 100% of not paying any money. For the next spot on our list, we're covering a plugin bundle, all made by the same company. They all do similar things, so I'm pairing them together. They're called GateLab, PanFlow, and FilterStep, all by Audio Modern. My favorite and the one I use the most is PanFlow, but they're all great for getting creative sounds. PanFlow works by sequencing pan automation between the left and right speakers. But what makes it stand out is the randomization feature and the infinite procedurally generated loops it can create. If we hit this button here, the panning of our audio will change every time, forever. The other plugins function the same way but use gates or filters. I've never seen a plugin do something like this, and it allows for some extremely creative sounds. And it's all free. Actually, all these plugins are free. Hopefully you got the gist of that by now. Up next, we have another instrument plugin. It's called Vinyl Guitar 2. It makes a vinyl guitar sound, and it does it well. The starting preset is my favorite, but not all the presets sound great. But any free plugin that has at least one outstanding sound is worth the download in my book. I've included it on the list because I've actually used it in professional productions before. Though most of the time when it comes to guitar, I record it live. And I also use one of my favorite free plugins to get it sounding money. We're almost there. Hold on. I promise. The next plugin isn't one plugin, but three. And before we get into the best of the best free plugins, I wanted to take some time to honor some honorable mentions. These three plugins don't come as highly recommended as the previous 9, and definitely not as recommended as my favorites to come, but they do deserve your attention. They are Analog Play by Arturia, Slate Audio's free plugins, and Vaults by Crow Audio. Analog Play is Arturia's version of Native Instruments Complete Start, a fully free synth bundle that gives you some good sounds. It's not as good as NI's Complete Start, but if you're feeling synth hungry, go and eat it up. Slate Audio makes some great plugins, and they also offer a few of them for free. Right now, they're giving away Fresh Air and Heatwave. Fresh Air is an EQ and a compressor to add sparkle to your vocals or instruments, and Heatwave is a distortion plugin. Both sound good and work well. And last in the honorable mentions, we have a newer free plugin called Vaults by Crow Audio. Vaults is a collection of different software instruments that promises to update its sounds as time goes on. Right now, it has 4 different sounds that sound decent. My favorite being far and away the Celesta, which is the reason why it even made this list. But with the promise of more sounds to come, I'm hopeful that another Celesta type quality sound will rear its instrument head. And now we've made it to my favorite free plugins of all time. And I've saved the very best for last. The first essential free plugin you need to download is Vital by Vital Audio. Vital is a free synthesizer that rivals paid alternatives like Serum. It sounds great, it looks great, and it's easy to learn. On top of that, it's got great presets to get started and a fantastic community of creators willing to help you learn how to use it. I'm pretty sure it's called Vital because it's absolutely vital you download this superstar of a synth. To be candid, I still personally prefer using Serum, but Vital is still head and shoulders above some of the other selections on this list, and it gets the Maddie stamp of approval. Next on the list of my favorite free plugins is the Neural Amp Modeler by Steven Atkinson. The Neural Amp Modeler, or NAM as the cool kids call it, is an AI-powered guitar amp modeler, and it sounds amazing. If you're recording any sort of live guitar, you've got to get this plugin. Using AI, and I'm pretty sure voodoo magic, it takes recorded amps and turns them into a digital recreation you can play. What's more is there's already a dedicated community of guitar lovers recording their own expensive amps and setups and putting them online for you to use for free. If you go to tonehunt.com, you can download all of these amp profiles and start using the best classic amp sounds. In my opinion, this AI modeling software is the future for guitars. You can already see companies like Amplitude and Native Instruments following in the footsteps of this open source plugin. This beastly plugin absolutely deserves the Maddie stamp of approval. And lastly, my favorite of favorite free plugins that you simply must download is called OTT by Xfer Records. OTT stands for over the top, and in this case, it's talking about compression. OTT is a heavy-handed multi-band compression compressor that will absolutely squash your sound in the best way possible. If you've already got Ableton, you already have an OTT plugin built in your DAW. For the rest of us, we've got this free option from Steve Duda himself. OTT isn't a complex plugin. In fact, most of the times I use it, I don't adjust any settings except one, the mix knob. I'll throw it on my tracks to give them a bit more body, high-end, and compressed sound, and then mix it in to taste. I'm throwing OTT on my tracks like a Subway worker slapping on mayonnaise. And why? Well, because it sounds good. It's easy, it's simple, but the end effect is so much better. Also, it's easy to put way too much OTT on, so disclaimer, tread lightly. And because this plugin sounds so good, and it's so easy to use, it gets the crown of my favorite free plugin, and also the Maddie stamp of approval. If you're interested in finding out more about some paid plugin options, go check out the video I made right up here.